heavy elements, heavy metals get into these water bodies, it becomes difficult to remove them. And so...
Not even water treatment?
Not even water treatment, because there's a limit to which it can go. You have to do much more. And the chemicals that are used to treat these waters, if you want to now eliminate all these ones, that means you have to introduce more chemicals to treat, which also has this side effect. And so the issues of galamsey activities is causing a lot. When you are watering these plants, you use the same water. And when these heavy metals get into the water, it is the same water that you are using to water your plants and all of that. And so it's more or less like cascading effect. Once one happens, it translates onto the other. These are the same food produce that are harvested to the homes, and we process them and we eat.
So it doesn't matter where you stay?
So it doesn't matter where you stay. Some activity can be happening somewhere, maybe in Ashanti region or wherever, but then the foods get to the Greater Accra, and then those of us will consume. So it doesn't matter where you stay. So it can affect you.
This afternoon, the Peace and Governance Analyst at the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, in Ghana, Hammoah Agyemang, has intimated the need for provision of alternative livelihood for women and the youth in border and gold mining communities as critical incentive for dealing with insecurity in border communities. According to her, the unemployment situation is a driver for the youth involvement in galamsey activities, which she believes could be addressed through the provision of alternative livelihood. Some 1.9 million Ghanaians in the productive age bracket are unemployed or with no education. Let's connect with my colleague Christopher Mwako, who has been to some border communities where the UNDP and SWEDA Ghana has been engaging residents on border security. Christopher, many thanks for your time. First of all, can you let us know what the border communities are doing about this and the vulnerability as a result of unimproved routes? Tell us the security situation in these border communities that you have visited and how that could be a threat to the security of the country.
Yes, so Godwin, if you look at the borders in the northern part of the country,
right,
they are nothing to write home about, especially when you go to the hinterlands, where these border communities have as it were, unapproved routes that several people cross in and out of the country. And so it has become a major issue of concern, especially as the country is taking measures to tackle the incidents of violent extremism in neighboring countries. And so the UNDP and SWEDA Ghana over the period have been engaging some border communities to ensure that they give enough education to complement government see something, say something efforts in dealing with this issue. Now, one critical area has to do with the issues of unemployment, because it is the youth who may get themselves involved in some of these activities, and it has to do with youth who do not have any work doing. And so once they have alternative livelihood work that they be doing, then it means that it's be very difficult for someone to entice them, to be able to convince them to join any group or groupings that has a tendency of spoiling the peace of the country. Godwin.
We know that UNDP and SWEDA Ghana have been engaging residents in some of the border communities, just like you have indicated. How impactful has this engagement been to the residents?
Yeah, so these residents already are picking up some alternative livelihood opportunities like gari making, soap making, and other things that will keep them engaged. The other aspect has to do with that they are beginning to reckon with the messages that is going through in a sense that if you see someone that is new in this area, then you have to report to either the opinion leader, the chief, the assemblyman, or other individuals who carry this matter to the necessary quarters where it will be addressed. Because immediately you cross these border communities into the Ghana territory, it is very difficult for you to cite any immigration official right there and then. So you have to walk several kilometers before you are able to see some of them. So some of these advocacy that these groups have been doing is impacting residents, think that they are able to tell a stranger is in their midst, or they are able to take up some job opportunities that will make them self-sufficient. Let's take a listen to what they've been saying.
And unemployment is one of the vulnerabilities that we have identified when it comes to recruitment of young people into violent extremism activities. So as part of our interventions to address this issue, a component of the project is looking at providing livelihood support to community members to make sure that access to communication is accessible across the country, so that once there's any issue, people can immediately, inform our security agencies.
We all know that unemployment is a real issue when it comes to being violent. When it comes to the fact that as people, you lose nothing if you are giving something small, and then therefore you can do whatever it is. So what we are doing in this Sunyani community, especially so when they are very close to the border of Côte d'Ivoire, is to work with young men who, according to them, were doing galamsey, but they are no more doing galamsey, and they've come back home and they need livelihood. So what we are doing to them is to change their mindset of self-employment for themselves. So we are training them to be able to access income. We are giving them skills to use what is available in the community in terms of what their traditional knowledge of livelihood, like gari processing. So they've come together as a young people to be able to process gari. So we've been doing some group dynamics training for them. We've also been able to create linkages for them to be able to work with the Ghana Enterprise Agencies, and then get also cooperative department to come to them and strengthen them so that they are very viable and then very well equipped in terms of knowledge, skills, and the mindset to access resources. So that when they do that, they can be self-employed, produce their gari where the market is available, and they'll be able to sell, and that will reduce their vulnerability, and therefore employment will come. And when they are employed, I don't think that they will be so much eager to take something small to destabilize themselves.
Christopher Amwako is my colleague in the northern region. Let's do more stories. 9 out of 10 workers in Ghana are said to have resorted to eating once a day and renting textbooks for their children to cope with the high cost of living. This is an outcome of a study put together by the Trade Union Congress and the Global Research Policy Action Group, Women in Informal Employment, Globalizing and Organizing.
Informal sector workers represent 89% of employment nationally and 83% in urban areas. Despite the contribution of these workers in economic growth, vulnerabilities against them persist.
First, I did 3 times a day. They send me to me this. I be doing akwalana me di mama no. Because me did this ana akwalano omunye bibi ombedid.
These hawkers, headquarters and others have not been spared by the recent hikes in cost of living, according to the WIGO Accra Cost of Living Report 2024.
The informal workers, they resort to adverse or negative coping mechanisms to be able to deal with the rising cost of living. They cut down on food consumption, both quantity and quality. Some of them are eating once a day, because you see, so they might decide to take just lunch, sleep on empty stomach in the evening. Some also kind of live close to their workplaces to be able to also deal with the issue of high transportation costs. Some also kind of incur debts because they borrow to pay the fees of their children.
Though government has signed treaties including the Sustainable Development Goals to ensure easy access to trading space for informal sector workers, constant evictions by government task force have been a major setback to their output.
We have signed on to certain agreement to ensure that people are free to work, to ensure that people have spaces to work. So why are we not implementing the very thing that we agreed to, right? And for me, I don't think that this is a big thing that we cannot do.
Stakeholders at the dissemination seminar advocate a mutual understanding between state agencies and the informal sector.
So what is going to emerge from this meeting is a sort of indications upon which they're going to engage the critical government ministries, the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization, Rural Development, because a lot of this action is at the local level, the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations, as well as the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection.
The Women in Informal Employment, Globalizing and Organizing WeGo Cost of Living report looked at the recent cost of living and its impact on informal sector workers. WeGo is a global research policy action network that seeks to improve the status of the working poor, especially women, in the informal economy.
Dr. Owusu Boampong is a senior research fellow and head of the Department of the Integrated Development Studies at the University of Cape Coast and also part of this research. Sir, thank you so much for your time. You were in the center of this research. How worrying are these findings?
Thank you very much, Godwin, for having me on your channel. Yes, it's worrying. Because we know over the years that informal workers, who are very often described as at the bottom of the pyramid, are facing inequalities and vulnerabilities. But then the rise in cost of living actually has been affecting their working conditions in negative ways. And as a result, we have adopted what we call negative coping mechanisms in order to be able to deal with the crisis. Within the context of the fact that they are not, they don't have access to safety nets or state-led social protection schemes. So it makes their conditions very, very vulnerable.
Are there any implications on our human resource targets?
Hello? Sorry.
Yes.
Can you come again, sir?
I was asking if there are any implications on our human resource targets.
Of course, because we all find out as a country, we are part of this global framework of sustainable development goals. There are issues about poverty, reduction in poverty. So clearly, if you are not able to address the working conditions of these informal workers, who constitute about 85% of the working force, for example, in Accra, then it will be very difficult for us to be able to reduce poverty, especially urban poverty. Very often the focus has been on rural poverty, but post-COVID has taught us that urban poverty is also on the increase. So if you don't target the urban poor, then it will be very difficult for us as a country to be able to achieve the target of reducing poverty.
Right. So what is the way forward?
The way forward is very clear. Very often when you engage the informal workers, they talk about the fact that they are not being recognized by the state. Okay. And they are the lifeline of the economy, for example, in Accra. So clearly they want government to engage them, provide them with safety nets, provide them with social safety nets, even their workplaces. They want a situation where they will not constantly be harassed by state authorities. If you look at the wage pickets, for instance, they are always living on the edge as to whether or not their workplaces are going to be there for them to be able to work, throughout the year. So clearly what they are asking for is for the government to engage them whenever they want to intervene, whether it's about evictions, whether it's about closure of dump sites, or whether it's about burden of open markets. They want the government to engage them so that they can also bring their wisdom and knowledge to bear on government intervention.
Right. Thank you so much for engaging us this afternoon. I have been speaking with Dr. Owusu Boampong, who is a senior research fellow and head at the Department of Integrated Development Studies at the University of Cape Coast and also a part of this research. But I'll definitely be keeping an eye on that development. Ghana is facing a significant shortage of highly skilled workers, pushing employers, to recruit foreign talent to fill critical roles, according to a new report by Fitch Solutions. The UK-based rating agency also revealed that Ghana's unemployment challenges will stay at concerning levels until 2026.
Fitch Solutions has predicted that Ghana's unemployment rate will remain at an average of 4% for the next 3 years, continuing a trend of slow increases since 2017. The UK-based firm attributes this rise to broader economic challenges faced by the country, such as inflationary pressures driven by both demand pull and cost push factors. The report highlights that low life expectancy, which averages 64.3 years, is a major factor reducing the size of the labor force. This, according to Fitch, is partly due to limited government expenditure on healthcare and the prevalence of diseases like HIV/AIDS and waterborne diseases. Additionally, Fitch noted a shortage of highly skilled workers in Ghana, forcing employers to import talent from abroad to fill critical roles in the workforce. The analysis also links the ongoing economic challenges to the aftermath of economies reopening following the COVID-19 pandemic, which continues to impact households and consumers across the country.
The head of the Ghanaian European Center for Jobs, Migration and Development, Andre Berding, has expressed a grave concern about youth unemployment in Ghana. He has described the situation as dire, which needs swift attention and correction. He made the observation at a forum organized by the European Center for Jobs, Migration and Development in Kumasi.
I want to underscore the fact that we gathered here today not only to kick off an important event, but also to address a critical challenge facing young people in Ghana, which is the issue of youth unemployment. In Ghana, it remains a significant concern, with approximately 14.7% of the country's young population currently being unemployed, according to the Ghana Statistical Service. Over 1.3 million young people between the age of 15 and 35 are struggling to find meaningful employment. The situation is even more dire among vulnerable groups, such as young women, who face consistently higher rates of unemployment compared to their male counterparts. These figures are not just statistics. They reflect the daily struggles and lost potential of the youth in Ghana.
The Association of Unemployed Environmental Health Officers and Assistants in Ghana are calling on government to take action to employ their members. Winifred Atenga is the General Secretary of the association, which is the Association and Posted Environmental Health Officers and Assistants Association of Ghana, and he is joining us for a conversation on that worrying development. Thank you so much for your time, Atenga. Which year groups of your members are still remaining waiting for their postings?
Good afternoon, sir, and good afternoon to your service viewers. Yes, Posted Environmental Health Officers are graduates from the 3 schools of hygiene, that's School, Tamale, and Accra School of Hygiene. We have always been getting postings whenever we complete within 3 months. But this time around, we have been in the house for over 4 years. Our attempts to secure postings have failed. We have written to government as Minister of Water and Sanitation several times. We have visited them. We have contacted Ministry of Local Government for a very long time. No one is attending to us. And that's why we saw that there's a need to go there personally, because we have ever submitted a letter to Northern Regional Minister in the person of Mr. Said Busani, and it never went to Ministry of Local Government nor Minister of Water and Sanitation. And so this time around, we have taken steps to be there on Tuesday coming, that 10th, to take it at Minister of Finance, Minister of Local Government, Minister of Water and Sanitation to demand for this posting for the over 2,000 unemployed environmental health officers in the house.
When we say environmental health officers, I mean, we know that some of you work in the hospitals to keep the place sanitary and all of that, but can you elaborate more on what you do?
Yes, environmental health officers, our main aim is to prevent. Our main aim is to prevent disease from getting our main aim is to prevent diseases, that is diseases from animals to humans, from sanitary related conditions to people like typhoid, zoonotic diseases, and let's say cholera among others. So we do a lot, not only keeping the communities clean or the country clean, but to ensure that health are not being affected by sanitary improper sanitary related conditions. So we were even happy to hear that our president says that he wants Ghana to be the cleanest city. But we knew that if Ghana becomes the cleanest city in West Africa, at least the level of diseases at the OPDs in the various hospitals would have been reduced. But to our disappointment, nothing is being done. All what we hear is contract has been given to this, contract has been given to this. Who are professionals are sitting in the house for over 4 years. And if you can set your mind back, when we were kids, myself, I came to see it. Environmental health officers were working hard, very hard. The level at which disease was spreading was very low. Now we have been neglected for a very long time. And we think that government is not taking us serious. Government doesn't want people to get healthy, but he rather wants us to fall sick and go to the hospital for treatment. And so we are told not only that aspect, but we have been trained for a purpose, and we are in the house not doing anything. Some of us have become a burden onto our parents. We still feed from our parents. We still do anything. Sanitary part alone, we still demand from our parents, and we think it's unfair.
Well, you have raised concerns that government is not paying attention to your members as it has to the nurses and midwives. Why is that so? Because we know that some nurses and midwives are also still waiting for their postings.
Well, we raised a because on 2023, we wrote a letter to government, that's Ministry of Water and Sanitation, and they responded to us that there's ban on employment and that they cannot employ or recruit anybody until the IMF program is elapsed. Now, if you have said that, and we have seen medical doctors being given clearance, we have seen nurses being given clearance, teachers being given clearance, and many other people being picked backdoor. It means that you are intentionally telling us a different story, because this is Ghana we are all living in. So at the end of the day, if you tell me this and the other people are also getting it, it means that you are being unfair to us. So we are not against the other people getting, but we are saying that where is the ban? Is the ban only on some part of Ghanaians leaving other Ghanaians?
Well, the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development and the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources, have you heard from them, regarding these concerns?
The last time we had the telling us that they have done everything within their best. They've submitted a list for Ministry of Finance to give us clearance, and Ministry of Finance is delaying it. It's not their fault. And that's why our target is mainly Ministry of Finance, to go and be there, wait for them to give us our appointment letters, then just give us to Ministry of Local Government or any ministry that's Ministry of Health for them to post us to our various stations, for us to start work to ensure that Ghana is clean as we want it, and Ghana is a disease-free country, and to make sure that this country never experiences the level at which we have been in a mess this time around, that every part of Ghana is very filthy.
Right. We hope they are listening and they will address your grievances as soon as possible. Thank you so much, Winifred Atinga, who is the General Secretary of the Association and Posted Environmental Health Officers and Assistants Association of Ghana. You're still tuned in to Weekend Central here on TV3 Live on DSTV channel 279 with me, Godwin Asediba. We are going for a quick commercial break and we will be back shortly. Stay with us.
This Sunday on Hot Issues.
What exactly is going on with the meter replacement that is causing a lot of displeasure among your customers?
We have identified over 1 million plus meters that are overage and are not performing well.
At this rate, ECG is not a profitable business.
Is that your opinion or the opinion of the Auditor General?
Based on what is on the paper.
But if you do the profit and loss accounting, what did they say? We've had people who, when you give them meters, they tamper with the meter. We've had people who try and move the cables at the back of the meter. In fact, we have people who envisage that they will steal.
What could government be doing now to help ECG?
The energy sector or the power sector's problem is a financial model problem.
Hot Issues shows Sundays at 2 p.m. on TV3.
TV3, first in news. The news that matters most is the news that hits closest to home.
When it breaks, we are there.
If it touches your family, your city, affects your expenditure, your decisions, as well as your safety, we've got it covered.
It's easy to just cover the news. What we are doing is different, creating a news experience that prepares you for anything. TV3 News, award-winning journalism, world-class quality, on TV and online, right at your doorstep. TV3, first in news.
The Ghanaian woman, she's the symbol of true passion. She has a dash of inspiration, a double of endurance. She's the comforter, the physician, and chief architect of the home. The Ghanaian woman, the image of a true African queen. The Ghanaian woman deserves honor. Watch the inspiring stories, great achievements, and challenges of outstanding women in Ghana on Ghana Women Awards Diary. The Ghana Women Awards 2024 is sponsored by Ghana Women Awards Diaries. Show Saturdays at 1 p.m. on TV3.
Welcome back to the program. This is your Election Command Center. This afternoon, People's National Convention PNC is today holding election across the country to elect its flag bearer for the 2024 general election. It's 91 days to the general elections and a few days for the submission of presidential and vice presidential electoral commission to the Electoral Commission ahead of the December 7 polls. My colleague Stanley Niblel has been monitoring happenings at the polls, and he is joining us this afternoon for a conversation. Stanley, thank you so much for your time. Can you tell us what is happening at the moment?
Okay, so this afternoon, the UDS Guest House, which is a stone throw from Media General, is hosting the Greater Accra Congress of the People's National Convention, where delegates from all over Accra have converged to elect their flag bearer and also some national executives to steer the affairs of the party for the next 4 years. But it is sad to note that this afternoon, the Congress that is supposed to have taken place long or have started long ago has delayed because the Electoral Commission that is supposed to play the referee role in this Congress has not showed up. And also, some executives or some individuals of the party that have put forth their interest to be voted for to lead the party have also not showed up. And so the delegates have converged here in their numbers, waiting to elect or partake in the process. But as I speak, fury is all over their faces because the process has delayed and nobody seems to be telling them anything.
Right. Can you take us through the candidates contesting for the various positions?
Well, I wouldn't be able to mention all their names, but what I can confirm is that there are 11 positions in the party up for grabs. Out of these 11 positions, when nomination was opened, 6 of the slots were filed for to be contested by some executive or some members of the party. Out of that 11 positions, 6 of the positions are contestable. However, 5 of the positions, only one individual contested or filed to contest for those positions, for the 5 positions. And so for them, for the 5 positions, they will be acclaimed, but 6 of the slots will be voted for or will be elected to those sensitive positions in the party.
But have you cited any of the candidates around, and what is their posturing looking like?
Yes, so currently, Samson Asaki Awingobi, who is seeking to be elected as the chairman, national chairman of the party, is around, and he is not comprehending why the entire process has delayed. And so for him, he has not been happy ever since he reported to the ground. And then also there are other members of the party who are also seeking to take some positions in the party. They are also here, but they cannot actually tell the delegates when the Congress is supposed to start. And so everybody is stuck. There is no headway here at the UDS guest house.
Looking at what is happening, do you think voting might be ending soon?
Now that the entire process hasn't kick-started, I'm not sure that it will end anytime soon, because we don't know when the entire process is going to commence. And then some over 4,000 delegates are supposed to partake in this process nationwide. And in the Greater Accra, we are expecting in excess of 500. So although it is 500, if the process had, begun, it would have moved faster for us to determine whether the Congress will end on time or not. But now that everything has not started and everybody is jittering, fury is growing every minute. And so we are hoping that the Electoral Commission would actually arrive and then kickstart the process.
Stanley, usually the voters would have a particular name on their lips that they might be voting for. Have you been able to put your ear on the ground to hear any name at all?
Yes, so when I came and then when I got to realize that the delegates are G-trained, I got closer to them and then I found out from them. I was able to hold some conversation or talks with them. And then some were not able to tell me who they are here to vote for. But for them, others are sure of determining the fate between their flag bearer, which is Bernard Ambataila Mona, and then David Apasara. You know, David Apasara led the party into the 2020 elections, and Bernard Mona was also the former General Secretary of the PNC. And so going to this election, they have all been campaigning over the few weeks, seeking for the delegates to renew their mandate so that they can go ahead, because according to Bernard Mona, he has some vital or key policies that when elected, he would implement for the entire country to benefit from. And then Apasara too has coined his message to the delegate, claiming that in 2020, when he was elected the flag bearer, and then he had only few days to campaign for the election, and that actually impacted on his fortunes. And so this time around, he's seeking the delegates' support to renew his mandate so that whatever policies that he actually wanted to implement for the party, he can come back as the flag bearer or leader of the PNC to implement such policies to also benefit the country when actually he wins the 2024 general elections. So that has been the situation at the UDS guest house. In the regions, I'm picking information that some of the regions have started the process, but not all the regions are at stake.
Right, Stanley Niblel, thank you so much for the updates. Away from that, the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, has reiterated the party's manifesto promise of introducing free primary health care and Ghana Medical Care Trust to cater for chronic diseases at the handing over of an ultra-modern maternity and children's ward to the Nkranza Polyclinic built by former First Lady Lordina Mahamat's Charity Foundation. John Mahama says the NDC will be deliberate about the health of Ghanaians, committing to investing in infrastructure and human resource.
The next NDC government will be keen on preventive health care because we want a healthy Ghana. We don't want to wait until you get seriously ill before you are referred for treatment. Under the Ghana Medical Care Trust, we will cater to chronic diseases like kidney failure, that is dialysis centers, cancer, heart diseases, hypertension, sickle cell disease, and diabetes. In addition to that, my running mate and your next Vice President, Professor Hammoah Agyemang, is championing the free sanitary pads for schoolgirls initiative. We'll also pilot the use of reusable silicone sanitary cups. A lot of men may not know this, but this is a vital need of our girls, and the lack of it affects their attendance rates at school. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my fervent hope that this project will be the catalyst for further developments at the Nkranza Polyclinic.
This is a dream come true for me and the Nkranza community. As president of the Ladina Foundation, it brings me great joy to know that this facility, which we are inaugurating today, will ensure safe delivery for women in the Nkranza Township and beyond. Indeed, today is an important day for the people of Nkranza Mine. This brand new facility is bigger than the one we built for the Bole Government Hospital 2 years ago. This reflects our commitment to improving maternal and child health in Ghana. In Africa, maternal and child health remains a critical issue. Each year, 265,000 women die from childbirth complications, and 1.2 million children do not live to see their first month. It is wrong for a woman to die in the process of giving birth to life.
Away from your election command center, we head to the Bono region, where some streets and neighborhoods in Sunyani, the capital city of Bono region, are facing safety concerns due to poor lighting. The new Doma Odumasi Pastoral Center Road has been in the news for some concerns, with residents expressing worry about security. This is a report by Claude Kumi Ebisa.
The Sunyani municipality has made significant strides in improving its lighting system, with several major streets and public spaces now well lit. The new lights have not only improved visibility at night, but have also enhanced the overall safety and security in the area. However, despite the positive changes, there are still areas in the municipality that are lacking proper lighting. Some streets and neighborhoods remain poorly lit, posing safety concerns for residents. Residents have reported that the lack of adequate lighting on the Odumasi Pastoral Center area has made it difficult for them to navigate their way around at night.
We are currently on the Odumasi Pastoral Center Road. This particular stretch of the road links the Sunyani East and the Sunyani West. This stretch of the road, as we speak, has no street lights. Pedestrians, motorists, as well as residents who ply this portion of the road are enduring perilous conditions.
Sometimes when they close from church, especially the ladies, snatching of mobiles and stuff like that, it's not the best. Apart from the driving, those using the roads alone after 9:30, the darkness is too much.
A colleague of mine had his tricycle snatched by robbers on this stretch last Sunday, so authorities should fix the lights for us. It is very dangerous to use this stretch. We are appealing to government or benevolent persons to come to our aid.
However, the assembly member for New Doma electoral area, Idris Abdul Karim, is assuring residents that efforts are underway to address the areas lacking poor lighting. He pledged to work closely with relevant stakeholders to ensure that all parts of the area are well lit and safe for residents.
All that I can say for now is that by the close of this week, we will start a new installment of street bulbs. Definitely, we will work it out.
As the Sunyani municipality continues to make progress in improving its lighting system, it is clear that there is still work to be done. Authorities are urged to take immediate action to address this pressing issue. Claude Kumi Ebisa, New Doma, Sunyani, Bono Region.
The situation is the same in the eastern region along the Ebri stretch and also on the Tema motorway, and this is a concern that needs to be addressed immediately. You're still tuning to Weekend Central here on TV3. I am Godwin Asediba. We are back shortly. Stay with us.
This week, on this episode of Kitchen Wars, we're traveling into the Middle East. The task is tricky.
We are coming to show you what we are capable of doing.
Hey, we are not just beautiful, we also have the kitchen skills.
We are not joking, we are taking everything by step and different methods of cooking.
Just in case your burners are not working, there's fire here. As many goals as is it going to be the Ashanti region? Is it going to be the Volta region? Or right here in Accra that carries the day?
Kitchen Wars is brought to you by Kivo Foods, Everpack, Mazim Foods, Miss Cookie Spices, Chana Shito.
The Ghanaian woman. She's the symbol of true passion. She has a dash of inspiration, a double of endurance. She's the comforter, the physician, and chief architect of the home. The Ghanaian woman, the image of a true African queen. The Ghanaian woman deserves honor. Watch the inspiring stories, great achievements, and challenges of outstanding women in Ghana on Ghana Women Awards Diary. The Ghana Women Awards 2024 is sponsored by Ghana Women Awards Diaries. Shows Saturdays at 1 p.m. on TV3.
This Sunday on Hot Issues.
What exactly is going on with the meter replacement that is causing a lot of displeasure among your customers?
We have identified over 1 million plus meters that are overage and are not performing well.
At this rate, ECG is not a profitable business.
Is that your opinion or the opinion of the Auditor General?
Based on what is on the paper.
But if you do the profit and loss accounting, what did he say? We've had people who, when you give them meters, they tamper with the meter. We've had people who try and move the cables at the back of the meter. In fact, we have people who envisage that they will steal.
What could government be doing now to help ECG?
The energy sector or the power sector's problem is a financial model problem.
Hot Issues shows Sundays at 2 p.m. on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
We went to visit Dr. Kaba.
Okay.
To know the full details of this condition.
Have you heard about Samuel Akuno? The young man who's suffering from a condition that makes his head tilt backwards whenever he tries to express emotion. He's such an amazing painter. 3 young boys would also be joining us, and they are visually impaired.
I dreamed that my head has been dipped in water. The next day I woke up. I wasn't able to see again.
We welcome them onto the show to tell us their story.
The Day Show, Sundays at 3 p.m. on TV3.
Brought to you by Cowbell Coffee, Onga.
You're welcome back. The Food and Beverages Association of Ghana is urging the Minister of Food and Agriculture, Dr. Brian Champong, to ensure a transparent and fair election process for suppliers involved in the planned importation of grains. This comes as the government, through the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, has launched an emergency relief package to address the severe drought conditions affecting the Middle Belt and Northern region of the country.
In response to the severe drought affecting the Middle Belt and Northern regions, the government has introduced emergency measures to ensure food security. These measures include a ban on grain exports and the planned importation of 300,000 metric tons of maize and 150,000 metric tons of rice. However, the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana is advocating for transparency and fairness in the implementation of these measures.
I commend the Minister of Agri for taking the initiative or taking the steps to remove duties and to ensure that some products are imported, this rice is imported into the country. But I would say that selecting a few players in the industry to import this product is quite discriminatory and I would say unacceptable.
Furthermore, the association is calling on government to waive duties on grains currently stored in bonded warehouses, enabling quicker delivery and providing timely relief to affected communities.
In 2007, when this similar issue occurred, the president, then His Excellency President J.A. Kufuor, allowed these goods to be imported, that is rice, and indeed not only to be imported, but he allowed goods that were already in the warehouses to be ex-warehouse duty-free, and this reflected at the marketplace in terms of price reduction. So we can do same.
Let's talk education now. Some schools in rural communities continue to struggle to provide equitable and quality education to children. One of such schools is the Abrokwa MA Basic School in the Domiabra Obom constituency. My colleague Ekio Foriwa Dako reports that portions of the school structure are dilapidated, causing congestion.
It was a rainy day at Dobakrowa MA Basic School. From a distance, our camera captured pupils who often sit under trees to learn, trying to find shelter in the few conducive classrooms. This situation often leads to congestion and absenteeism many times it rains. Classes are also halted until everything goes back to normal. For most children at Dobakrowa, accessing quality education is far-reaching. Belinda Kwei expressed concern about the dilapidated structure, which is becoming a death trap to pupils.
The
students study under trees, and whenever it rains, it interrupts their studies. Now, we are scared to wake up one day to a sad news because of the cracks in the building.
The concerns of Belinda Kwei about the limited infrastructure in the school informed the news team's decision to probe further.
Education is important to us in this community, so we want authorities to fix the school.
Efforts to get access to school authorities yielded no results. This is the only government school at Dobakrowa which also serves children in neighboring communities.
The congestion in the school is getting worse, and this is very shameful.
Benjamin Edufol, an elder in the Dobakrowa community, lamented the inadequate furniture in the school. He called for the revamping of the school.
School no abubu, and some years ago, and communal labor, and school.
The community has supported the school enough. But now we want the government to address the challenges bedeviling the school. Even the school lacks adequate furniture.
A
UNESCO report states that transforming education must be at the heart of every country's agenda to build meaningful and sustainable development and economic growth. Ekia Ofriwa Dako, TV3 News, Accra.
Private legal practitioner Martin Pegbu says President Akufo-Addo never meant to put his presidency on the line for the fight against illegal mining menace as he pledged. Speaking on key points, lawyer Pegbu said President Akufo-Addo was merely sloganeering when he made the statement. Meanwhile, Nana Ohene Into, special advisor to independent presidential aspirant Alan Tremantin, is of the view that Ghana needs completely new leadership to steer affairs of the country. Here are excerpts of the discussions on illegal mining.
He thrives on slogans. Now we can say so with hindsight of over 7.5 years. Where is the legacy? It's gone. The only legacy that he's very proud of and is confident about is that his family has become rich. His family has become rich. The largest of the public purse. He's come to transform his family. They were struggling. Today, his family is rich.
Evidence of the family,
that is
the
it.
family
But we borrow, and Oforiatta makes his card from data bank. Later, his daughters, the ambulance. There are more deals. Look, when Akufo-Addo leaves office, you see more contracts that his family benefited from. So that one, we can say boldly that yes, the legacy you can paint on Akufo-Addo is that here is a president who came, brought family and friends. The very thing he said he was not going to do. He did a U-turn and brought so many family members, and they looted us as if there's no tomorrow. Looted us, to pub.
I am actually at my wits' end in trying to understand how the people in government will not be ashamed, but feel proud and confident to campaign and to tell Ghanaians, vote for us to continue because we have served you well, because we did free SHS. And now, if you create a free school in the Chufuparasu area, and this is the water that the children in the Chufuparasu area have to drink, how long will they live to even benefit from the education that you've given them? It's absolute nonsense. It's absolute rubbish. Let's talk about our lives as a nation and talk about the responsibilities of leadership. The evidence of failure of leadership in Ghana today is humongous. Every single aspect of our lives you go to open to discuss, there's a crisis. And people in MPP, people in political circles, people in political parties who want to be voted want Ghanaians to behave as if all of us are stupid. And they are the wisest people. They are the people who know everything because they have political power. If MPP wins this upcoming election under the current circumstances of corruption, of galamsey, and of economic mismanagement and hardships, Ghanaians are finished. They will never respect Ghanaians anymore. They will become more and more impudent and brazen in whatever. The arrogance of power will be totally uncontrollable.
We'll flee.
And
we'll
I am repeating it. I am not by this statement saying NDC clear obviously is the better choice. I believe we need an independent.
In countries where leadership is working, Alfred, your own tree that you planted in your home, if you want to cut it, you need the permission of the authority to cut your own tree that you planted. Because that tree is counted as part of the contribution to the ecological balance in the area. And they know the effect of taking down the tree you planted. But in Ghana, we have leadership that decides trees they did not plant, trees that God gave us because they believe that God sleeps in the night. They decide to destroy what God has given us at the blind side.
Well, illegal mining is definitely causing a lot. Somewhere in the eastern region, illegal miners are impregnating young girls in exchange for money, which is really disturbing. But we're about to end the news here on TV3, and before we do that, pick up your phones and scan to our QR code where you can get to appear on our 3news.com to get to, read and see all happenings regarding news in the country and beyond. Do that immediately. And that's how we bring an end to Weekend Central today with me, Godwin Asediba. For more news updates, kindly log on to www.3news.com. Make sure you do get interactive with us on all social media platforms at TV3 Ghana. I am also Godwin.Asediba on Instagram, Facebook, and on X. See you tomorrow.